let's just... living in a house feels like it's the best thing in the world until you get hit with some of the shit that's just... it just feels like a fucking scam. So, here is how much it is going to cost, at least this proposal, for us to get things upgraded. Or functional at all. It's not an upgrade when you're going from no central air to yes central air. What is the square footage of the house? Square footage of the house is 1,100. So, heat pump. View options. Don't you love this formatted for mobile bullshit? Don't you love that? Isn't that your favorite of all time? Formatted for mobile. Ribbed for nobody's pleasure. Okay. System price. 17,000. 17,000. 17,000. With $4,000 of discounts, but 17,000. Now they have listed here an approximate monthly estimate for how much it'll cost. That's so cool. Somehow, with a 700 credit score, that didn't actually work. I couldn't get approved for whatever the fuck that was. And then we have another one. This is the electrical. Right? That's so weird. That shouldn't be... panel upgrade electrical. Yeah, the electrical panel upgrade, $12,000. $12,000 in order to upgrade an electrical panel. And for the new ductwork, $6,000. So, I'm not gonna lie to you. I ain't doing all that shit. Like, I'm just gonna have to sit in the middle of the Boots theory of economics for a minute or five, where the name of the game is recognizing that, in order to afford things, you need to first have the money to afford them. Now, full disclosure, I do have a substantial amount of money to put towards this. But I only have that substantial amount of money because there is a fan of the channel who has sent a substantial amount of money towards this. Now, we were both kind of thinking that that substantial amount of money would pay for everything, and not, you know, the idea of a sneeze of it. And that seems to be where we are instead. The idea of a sneeze of progress instead of actual progress. Dorito says, "Sirs, you're gonna have to get another quote. They are bending you over and putting it deep in your slimacy." So that's the plan. The plan is to get another quote from another place. I will be getting that on Wednesday, so you might hear me bitching about that when I'm on with Rhino. Who knows? Who knows? Did I mention haven't used it, HVAC certified? Yeah, but Dorito, that doesn't help me. So, like, it helps me in the sense that you would know what you're doing, and therefore can offer advice. Dorito says it helps on labor? Is that you saying you plan on coming up here and I buy parts and we install shit together? Is that what that means? I'll take a day off for the kids. Then we gotta schedule something. That's his private time. Let him go back to fucking behind a tree. But yeah, that was my day. So I have another quote, but it doesn't include the electrical. And I'm supposed to be getting a quote about the electrical later today. Now, that quote is $13,000. I have the email for that one somewhere. But that doesn't include the heating, and it doesn't include the electrical. So I'm expecting that full price, when they get me the rest of the ship for that quote, to be similar. So what I can say is I'm very tired. And that was the first 5 hours of my day. I woke up at 9, and we didn't finish discussing everything till like 1, and then when I couldn't get approved for any of the weird loans they wanted me to do for it, when I couldn't even get approved for those, I went to my bank, and they said, oh, yeah, no, we have a different department that covers that now. And then they said they'll give me a call back, of which they haven't yet. So, I think I've been thoroughly derailed today, because I was supposed to get Magic the Gathering content done today as well. And I can tell you guys, in no uncertain terms, I have been up long enough to accomplish all of my day's tasks. I am also here to tell you, in no uncertain terms, not a single one of them has been accomplished. Now, I will add into that. That I'm also planning a collaboration with not 1, not 2, not 3, but 10 fucking people. 10 of them. And that's also taken up some of the time. Thankfully, Alec Gunter took a bit of a hold of that. So it's not as bad as it could be. But I'm also planning another collaboration with the Magic the Gathering content creator, and he handed me a bracket 4 deck to try to minimize into a bracket 4 deck that was just lower cost. And it turns out, after 3 hours of testing, that's actually not possible. The thing that we thought might be possible, turns out it's actually not possible. And so, 3 years of or not 3 years, but 3 hours of building and testing a deck that didn't end up working for a video that I didn't end up shooting yet, and 5 hours of doing everything in my power to try to get AC online and fix our electrical panel, with no luck there either. Yeah, no, I'm done. A friend of mine, who I was talking about this situation to, while I was dealing with it, it just said, and how do you have time to do content? And that's the funny part, y'all. I don't. That is the funny part about days like today, where 8 of my hours get absorbed into the ether. I don't get anything accomplished today. I don't have, like, a magic button that suddenly makes it to where I can get my work done despite everything that was thrown at me. Nah, that just doesn't work. Instead, I have the realization that no, work is not getting done and won't get done. And maybe I will get a couple of topics done today on stream, because I'm on stream and I'm a motor mouth, and it's easy to do that. But at the end of the day, I'm just kind of a little fucking tired. A little fucking tired. I woke up today energized and ready to take on the day, and now that it is 10 p.m., effectively when I should be ending my day, since I woke up at 9 instead, I'm just very tired. Jassa, I appreciate it. I have not taken a look at those yet, but while I have some content available for the secondary channel, I have no content ready for the main channel, and I will let you know the other thing about how my day began, and maybe that will contextualize some of said panic. I got my paycheck from YouTube in today, and my paycheck from YouTube was $700. $700 across 3 channels. 3. I know that it's January. I know that the problem is that it's January, and January always has lower numbers for content creators across the board. But my God, those are margins I can't survive on. I know I've got Twitch, I know I've got Patreon, I know I've got all that, but like, beginning the day with, by the way, this thing you need is exorbitantly more expensive than you're able to manage, and then the halfway point of the day being, by the way, you're getting paid like $500 less than normal on YouTube today, and then the deck not coming together the way I wanted while I was trying to get everything ready for that video. I am thoroughly pooped. I'm thoroughly pooped. Axel said it's almost like UBI is good. Yeah, it is. UBI is a fantastic idea that I wish we could implement. That would be great. Have you thought about cross-posting Magic the Gathering stuff to Pornhub? Apparently the split is better. No. No, I haven't considered, posting my stuff on Pornhub. Whether the split is better or not doesn't change the fact that I don't know if adding yet another thing to my day is the answer, actually. Also, yeah, I can't really post on it because Pornhub's banned in Georgia. I can't even log into that. Whee! A VPN sponsor time? That's a band-aid to a problem, though. Okay, that handled all of that. Sweet Neko said, I'm sorry, but what? What do you mean? What's confusing? And Braindead said, VPNs aren't banned in GA or where I'm at SA, but that's a band-aid and a bit defeatist. Yep, that is the issue. That is the issue. The issue isn't whether or not I can access it. The issue is everything surrounding it. Okay. Excuse me? I was not expecting a wave of grunts there. Fantastic. Wonderful. It said, how would state tactics work for Pornhub, even in a banned state? Yeah, I don't know. How's it going, Nethercat? Fucking balls. Out of curiosity, are you doing a Turtles pre-release? No. Absolutely fucking not. I have zero interest in that piece of shit set. I will get some singles from it, but no. I'm not doing that fucking shit. I also don't want the pre-releases to sell at stores to signal to Wizards of the Coast that we're okay with their half-assed bullshit. Absolutely not. Your LGS is going to be sitting on pre-release boxes for months? Good. So, like, not good that your LGS will be suffering, but good that that's the case, because, honestly, I love Magic the Gathering, and I don't hate Wizards of the Coast as a company, but I am very, very sick of the mishandling of Universes Beyond. I really am. I really am. Said the Shredder being mono black and not mana red black is insane. Don't they have multiple Shredders, though? It said flexes, what about this Shredder? Okay. Said it's coming to light that the whole age verification thing turned out to be a gold mine for pretty much every form of criminal, as was predicted by myself and everyone with a functioning brain. Basically, let's do even more identity theft. Let's make identity theft easier than any time before in history. Will says, you aren't stoked for the inevitable Star Wars versus Star Trek deck arguments? No, because the Star Wars versus Star Trek argument's been dumb forever. Star Trek is idealized space sci-fi. Star Wars is fantasy set in space. They are comparable only because they are in space and have the word star. There is so little that those franchises share with one another that the idea that we argued, that anybody argued one versus the other for any amount of time is one of the dumbest things on the goddamn planet. Said Star Wars versus Star Trek is better than Star Wars versus Harry Potter, at least. The Harry Potter one only came because of a fucking meme. That one short-ass video where a guy was like, actually, did you know that Harry Potter is just Star Wars? Look at this. And they used the loosest fucking possible comparisons of things that barely registered as tropes to make their argument. Like, yeah, no, that argument is also stupid. The only thing that those two share of any, like, meaningful significance is the fact that between the two of them, nobody can get the fucking genre of what they are right. Harry Potter is a set of mystery novels masquerading as contemporary fantasy. Star Wars is a spaghetti western masquerading as a sci-fi. Seems like the people always in power are allergic to the term parental controls and actual parenting. I saw somebody in my comment section mention the actual parenting thing and say that it wasn't really an argument. Because for actual, because bad parents exist. And don't get me wrong, I agree with that argument in principle, because that's the argument that I've used for why it should be okay for a teacher to, say, not specifically report the gender of a kid every single time. Because, you know, sometimes parents are abusive assholes, and that is a known vector of abuse. When a kid has a, you know, non-conforming gender identity. Yet there are states that requires teachers to out the kids. Yup. That's because, okay, so, let's be honest. The reason for that is that there are no qualifications for you to be a politician. There's not even a single goddamn one. Most people who are politicians don't know jack diddly about science, studies, or anything. And as a result, they write laws with zero expertise because they rely on lobbyists and consultants in order to figure out whether or not a law is good for them to try to enact. However, there is no way for a non-professional to tell the difference between a consultant lobbyist who is part of a fucking think tank that wants to erode human rights and a consulting lobbyist who is part of something like, say, Equality Georgia, where their job is to try to point out that there are possible human rights violations in certain bills, so maybe don't fucking do that shit. There is no way for a non-tuned-in, non-expert to know which one of those two people to trust. And if you start going over all of the ways that they could figure it out, guess what? You have now inserted a degree of expertise I promise you most politicians either lack or ignore. And that's ignoring the fact that there are politicians who actively make it their job to fuck up the lives of, say, trans people. Specifically. Like, that's ignoring the ones that are there. I'm talking about, like, in a perfect world, everybody's a good faith actor. This is the problem that we still see. If my teacher told my parents I'm gay, why should I tell my parents are hitting me? Yeah. Why should I tell my teacher that I'm being abused if my teacher giving certain information to my parents was in fact the exact reason I got abused? In what world can I trust that teacher? No, you fucking can't. You don't have a world where you can trust that teacher. The teacher who outed you does not have your best interests in mind. That's the survival instinct. You give sensitive information to people who you know you can trust with sensitive information. So it's enough of a betrayal of trust that such a teacher is basically going to have zero trust? You can tell me anything. No, the fuck I can't. Obviously I can't. Because if I could, we wouldn't have this problem. Axel says, this is also what I mean when we say we don't see kids as people. People deserve privacy unless they're a kid. Then they need to be watched 24/7. It's bad to hit people unless they're a kid. Then it's discipline, and it's different because hitting their butt. And if you do it... But if you do that to an adult, it's sexual assault. Yeah. Said teachers are mandated reporters. Some people shouldn't be teachers if they can't deign which parents can be trusted with sensitive information. But, like, here's the thing, though. The teacher has barely any way of knowing. So I can say from experience that there are people who do not outwardly show as monsters, and you will end up trusting them. But the people who are best at hiding they are monsters are the highest caliber of monsters. So, like, I understand wanting teachers to have, like, some clairvoyance to determine who can be trusted and who can't be. I think it's better to just have overarching types of data that can't be trusted to parents, right? Because trying to operate any other way is gambling. It is just what it is. It's just gambling. I saw a clip from a guy who makes fake company fronts. And it made an ICE call line. An elementary teacher called to get one of her kids kidnapped. Yeah, that teacher should, die. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but if you are the type of person who would try to get a child deported, I do not trust you with breathing. You've decided that you are the type of person who cannot be trusted around children, the literal most vulnerable set of society, the people who, generally speaking, do not know better, cannot advocate better for themselves, and need to be protected. And that group of people are the ones you decided to say, yeah, fuck you, to. She said the kid and the parents shouldn't be in the area, that they belonged in the city. That's why she wanted to deport. Fuck that shit. That kid belongs in the school. That kid is in the school. If you can find that video for me, by all means. I would love to take a look at it. To thank right-wingers for pushing to ban trans people and running on the false narrative that schools are transing kids. Yeah, that's... ICE is already known at this point to have engaged in child abuse and human trafficking. I mean, what do you call half of their tactics if not human trafficking, right? Hey, you made it to the end. I want to give an extra thanks to the patrons who allow me to do this full time. I want to thank Aaron Rail, Astral, Britzkrieg, Jemshin, Poundini, Red Joker, Victoria, Jonas, Craig, Tarika, Fireshard, Smiling GM, John, Dren Hadamada, Creeper, Sagitta, you know I'm not saying that last part, Valis of Seraph, Ottoman Angel, Rooster Rachel, and Fire Panda, who are all my $20 and up patrons.